Jonathan Herron here with a quick Fearless Leadership update. Jonathan Herron here. So last week, a fresh new study on the American church was released at the Exponential conference via Lifeway Research. You can find the full information over on my blog, jonathanherron.com/blog. But it confirmed what we've been saying for years, that the supermajority of churches in North America sadly are plateaued or declining. It's just startling to see how few churches are seeing new birth, either through babies being born or people discovering a fresh new journey with Jesus Christ. In fact, only 10% of churches ever break 250 in attendance. Only the top 3% of churches ever break 500 in attendance. And that's just frustrating if you're a church leader to see those stats, because every church leader I've met is a good person. They're trying hard. They're up against overwhelming odds. And so seeing these startling statistics doesn't actually really put any fuel in your belly. Another stat that's not referenced in the study is that every brand new full-time person in ministry this month, 80% will no longer be in full-time ministry 5 years from now. And so I don't know about you, but that breaks my heart. That doesn't make me want to point fingers. Well, I do want to point fingers at one place, American seminaries and denominations, because obviously their playbook doesn't work. When I read the scriptures, what I see are men and women willing to give their lives to share the greatest message on earth, a message of love, hope, forgiveness, destiny. On day one of the local church in Acts chapter 2, the church grew from 120 to 3,000. So healthy things grow. That's why we started the Fearless Leadership Network. We're tired of the greatest hits messages at Christian leadership conferences with the same 10 talking heads. Again, great men and women of God, but if I wanted to hear their greatest hits message, I just listened to their podcast. Instead, coaching, free articles, free video training are available at fearlessleadershipnetwork.com, because I really do believe that you can quickly reach people far from God in your region. I say that because we've done it here at Life Church Michigan. We're celebrating our 6th birthday this coming weekend. So 6 years ago, this coming Sunday exactly, we're a St. Patty's Day baby. My wife and I risked everything. We had no money, no people, no facility, and we just had a dream, a vision of what could be and what should be in the Great Lakes Bay region of the High Five states. And coming up in 6 years, by God's grace, we have seen Life Church grow from 0 to 1,200 people who call us home. We're about to launch our 3rd campus. All the things that they say can't be done at seminary or even in church planting boot camps, we've shown that with God, all things are possible. And yes, healthy things grow. Jesus will build his church. And so we just want to equip you and encourage you through the Fearless Leadership Network. I think what is severely lacking right now in church leadership circles is an emphasis on honor and integrity. We live in a day and age where every month another high-profile celebrity preacher falls from grace. A few weeks ago, it was James McDonald, fired from the church he began 30 years ago, Harvest Fellowship. Last year at this time, it was Bill Hybels, the founder of Willow Creek, a church that has arguably influenced every church in the world. I could go on and on. In almost 20 years of ministry, every pastor or preacher that I've looked up to, many that I know personally, have all been fired or they have resigned from being stressed out. And it's disheartening because we have the Spirit of God within us. We have God's words breathed out to us. We have not been called to hold the fort, but to storm the heights. God has not called you into church leadership to hold your ground, but instead to double down and take more ground. And it requires men and women who will live above reproach, as it says in 1 Timothy 3, to put honor and integrity on the high shelf of church leadership. Because when a leader falls, the consequences are greater. It affects more people. It gives a black eye to the bride of Christ. We need more men and women of honor and integrity. And that's something that we talk about and teach through the Fearless Leadership Network. One of my favorite scriptures is found in Proverbs. Proverbs are great because they are God's leadership tweets. Proverbs chapter 10, verse 9 is one of my top 5 Bible verses. Proverbs 10:9 says, whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but he who walks in crooked ways will be found out. So quick heart check, leader. Whether you're the senior pastor or the children's director, maybe you're a church planter or you're a volunteer ministry coordinator, are you walking with integrity? The root word for integrity is integer. It means a whole number. Is there wholeness between what you say publicly and online and what you live privately in your home? Because millennials and Gen Zers are hungry and desperate for integrity. Are you practicing what you preach, or as my buddy Perry Noble would say, are you smoking what you're selling? If you can make integrity and an honor an issue before it needs to be, righteousness guards the man of integrity, it says in Proverbs. Proverbs 10:9 says that when you walk in integrity, when you do what's hard, even when it hurts, you are walking securely. But those who make their ways crooked will be found out. James McDonald, Bill Hybels, the list goes on. And I'm sad. I weep for those men. I don't condemn them. I just say we need to change this tide. Because if you don't walk with integrity, if you don't walk with honor, you will be found out, especially in a hyper social media world. I could tell you story after story in just short 6 years of a church startup of former interns, former staff who did not walk in integrity. And eventually their sins came to the light because Paul said that's true. All that's in darkness will be made light. I've had a full-time worship pastor before who was my best friend. Didn't realize that he was getting hammered drunk backstage before he'd come out to lead worship. And when he abruptly quit, we went to clean out his office and we found the empty alcohol bottles. It was so disheartening. And then he went and took another job at another church in town because they didn't do reference checks. Integrity matters. Honor matters. If you're disqualified from ministry, you have no business leading God's people in worship. That's a 1 Timothy 3, Titus 1 issue. We've had folks, we had a part-time guy that we once had to fire because he thought it was okay to take pictures of it, dropping his drawers, taking pictures of his manhood, sending it to young, impressionable 20-something women in our congregation. So immediately when we found out, we fired him on the spot. And to this day, he's never taken responsibility for his sin. He took a job at another church in town. If you walk in crooked ways, you will be found out. The enemy will take you down. That's why honor and integrity, living above reproach, is so important. We had an intern once, an unpaid intern, who's exaggerated all over social media and on his resumes, trying to get financial gain by claiming he had a job here before. We had another guy who was here for 5 weeks once, 5 weeks, 19 years old, and used that experience to get a full-time ministry position. And he's hopped from one job to another. Now he's at a mega church in the suburbs of Detroit. And it's all based on falsehood. He claimed to have been paid and to be on staff and have all this experience, and he didn't. And integrity guards the man of righteousness. But those who walk in crooked ways, those who lie online, those who are taking photos of themselves and prone to drunkenness on stage, they will not bear fruit in their ministry. And they'll just add to these statistics that weigh us all down. But it doesn't have to be this way. You and I can be the change that we wish to see in the American church. Every problem you face, church leader, is staring at you in the mirror, because everything rises and falls in leadership. So that's the bad news. You are the lid to every problem in your church, but the good news is you have the solution. Through you, new life can be breathed out into either a dying church or into a fresh new church startup. And it would be an honor and a privilege to walk alongside you, to encourage you with raw enthusiasm, to cheer for you with not just prayer, but personal phone calls, personalized online coaching, to resource you. Just go to fearlessleadershipnetwork.com. The super majority of the resources there are free. It is our gift to you from your friends here at Life Church Michigan. And if we can assist you, if we can cheer for you, if we can help you through some of these sticky situations, if you are looking for help, what does it look like to train up my elders, to train up my board, to train up my volunteers in honor and integrity? Let's talk. Fearlessleadershipnetwork.com is where you can find fresh new articles, video series. The majority are free. And of course, we can help you out with biblical teaching in your church, lifechurchmichigan.com. It would be our privilege to help assist you, cheer for you in any way. Remember Proverbs 10:9. From this day forward, choose to walk in integrity. Make honor and integrity an issue before it needs to be. When you take the high road, not only do you honor God and inspire people, but there's less traffic up there. I'm Jonathan Herron with fearlessleadershipnetwork.com, and together let's see what God can do through you.